This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, and verse 10, and it reads, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakadash, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai, Brakat the Yahweh, Brakat the Yahweh Shai. Once again, all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 100% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning, and to the house of David by Ashadabadad, and the hopeful elect of the 144,000 men they hope to be a part of. This is Ayash Yatad from Men of Valor Las Vegas Camp. Alright, I'm coming to you today with a lesson, and it's going to be titled, Salaki, it's going to be titled, Voting is a Spiritual Death. Alright? It's a spiritual death because you as Israelites are not supposed to be voting and be on, roughly paraphrasing, be on one accord with with this wicked nation. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the scriptures. All right, so we're going to start off in the book of Isaiah. Book of Isaiah. We're going to start off in chapter 30. And it's going to be verse 1. And it reads, Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin. All right? So, when you go out there and you're voting, vote or die, and stuff like that, that's sin. All right? A sin. It is not in our custom to have a heathen nation rule over us. Okay? And we can prove this through the scriptures. All right? And let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to jump into the first, jump into 1 Samuel's. All right? And it's going to be 1 Samuel's. And it's going to be Salakia, chapter 8 and verse 4. Salakia, chapter 8. Khan, chapter 8 and verse 4. And it reads, Then all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel unto Raham, Raman, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. All right, so his sons weren't falling after the customs that his father has, that their father has trained them in. All right, continuing on. Now make us a king to judge us like the nations. So this is the Israelites, the elders, coming and asking them to make them a king to judge like the other nations. But we did not need a king. All right, we weren't appointed a king at that time. Our king, and as always, is Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, but we did not have a physical king in the land to rule over us as the other nations did. All right, that wasn't a custom of ours at this time. All right, and never is it to be accustomed that a heathen nation rules over Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai's chosen people. Okay, continuing on, verse 6. Once again, this is 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 6. But but thine disciples, Samuel, when they said, Give us a king to judge us, and Samuel prayed unto Yahweh by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee, For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me. Once again, stiff-necked people, roughly paraphrasing the scriptures, rejecting Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is rejecting what Yahweh has set forth for us, okay? It was not our custom. We rejected, said we didn't reject Samuel, we rejected him. Continuing on and reading, rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them, all right? So you 2/3 said that you didn't want the Most High to reign over you, and you asked for a king to be over you on this land. And continuing on, verse 8, according to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me. All right, even to this day, we have forsaken Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, you 2/3. Salakia, have forsaken Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, because you don't want to hearken unto the word, you want to vote or die. All right, continuing on, and serve other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into verse 9. Now therefore hearken unto their voices, howbeit yet protest Solomon unto them that show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. So Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, Yahweh said, oh, you want a king? You want a king? Okay, let me tell you and show you the manner of the king that is going to reign over you. All right? Because this is what you want. This is what you asked for. I'm the Most High and the power. I'm the power of the universe. And it's not good enough for you. Okay? So you want a king on earth to reign over you. But before I get that and continue on, let's jump back into the book of Isaiah. All right? Chapter 30. And let's start at verse 1. Again. And it reads, woe to the rebellious children. Once again, you rebellious children, not hearkening unto the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, leaning upon your own understanding, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin. Verse 2, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. All right. So what is it talking about when it's Egypt? It's spiritually talking about America, Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. Sodom and Gomorrah, spiritually Egypt is America. If you don't believe it, go on, look up the book Babylon the Great, or America Babylon on one of those video platforms, whether it be Peacock, Amazon Prime, or whatever. You can find that on there. All right, and it clearly goes into these other nations are telling you that America is Babylon the Great. All right? If you don't believe me, look into it. Study and show thyself approved. This is not only us, the Israelites, telling you this. These heathen nations are saying it and seeing it too. All right? Continuing on. Therefore, chapter 30, verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. So the strength of Pharaoh should be your shame. This military, this government, the might that they have, it shall be your shame, thinking that America can never go down, that nobody can touch America. All right? This shall be your shame. All right? And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. You're confused. You're confused Yes, this was once upon a time the world power and the world's the merchant place where all the other countries came, all the other kingdoms came, because your presidents and your elect officials are nothing more than kings and dignitaries. All right, they just put it into a democracy package and put some other words on it. All right, these are your counselors. All right, these are the ones who make the laws of the land, such as back in 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, 1900s. Those are the same government bodies, just different names. So they're your kings, your rulers, the king's hand, so on and so forth. It's the same system. All right. Go back to the book of Samuel's, First Samuel's. It's be chapter 8 and verse 10. And it reads, "And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, unto the people that asked of him a king." Slaki asked of him a king, and he said, "This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons." Come on now. He will take your sons. Where are your sons now? Prison, war, joining the army, navy, so on and so forth, because this is what they feel they have to do, or this is the best plan for them to get out of their situation or to make something of themselves. And to them that serve, hey, thank you. There was a time and there's a reason, a purpose that it was here, and the reason why you did that, because Yahweh Bashem Yahushai had it set up at this time. So everything that you do in comparison or have done was to get to this point here. So we could wake up. All right? There's brothers across the globe who have been in militaries and everything, so on and so forth, that now preach the truth and speak the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? So Tawada, thank you for everything that you've done to get to this point. But now the kingdom is at hand. All right? The kingdom is at hand. We have to wake up. This is a wake-up call. Continue on. I'm start at verse 11 again. This is 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 11. "And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall rule over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, his ships, his tanks, his aircraft, his choppers, whatever you want to call it, his battleground, and to be his horsemen." All right, to lead the charge. Who's usually in the front line leading the charge? All right, the expendables. All right, and some shall run before his chariots. Okay, some shall run before his chariots. Sends in the ground troops before he sends in the heavy artillery. Why? To weed the flock, to thin the herd. All right, continuing on. "And he will appoint him, Salaki, and he will appoint his captains over thousands." His captains over thousands. Not you, Jake. His captains, who he feels that is in command. Yeah, he sprinkles it in with the democracy and the affirmative action, so on and so forth. He sprinkles a couple of them in. But in truth and honesty, how many of you are there in comparison to them? All right, the other nations. Continuing on. "And captains over 50, and will set them to ear," Slakia, "set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest." Yeah, to reap his harvest, to go out and do his dirty work, to make sure that he goes and collects everything for him, and then comes back and gives me the money, the taxation. All right? Paying taxes. You go out there and work. You own no land. You do nothing. Salakia, hold on.
Chris.
Salakia. Let me start over at this is going to be um 1 Samuel's chapter 8 and verse 12, and it reads, "And he will appoint his captains over thousands, and his captains over 50, and he will set them to air his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots." All right. So he makes your instruments of war. You go to his factories, your your guns and your missiles, your whatever the name of the company may be. All right, you go, you make all their weapons, and you use these weapons. You go out in the field, and you you are the test dummy. All right, you're on the both sides. You're making it, and you're using it, and you're getting it used on you. All right, because at the same token, same time, America is a business, right? And we also sell weapons to other countries, right? So those same weapons are turning around and being used on you, Jake. And continuing on. Verse 13. "And he will take your daughters to be confessionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers." All right, so your daughters will have jobs. Verse 14, "And he will take your fields and your vineyards." All right. Hey, Jake doesn't have fields or vineyards right now. Jake doesn't even have home, right? Whether it be an apartment, whether it be a house, whether you have acres and lands, you don't have any vineyards, you don't have any horses or anything like that. All right, most of you Jakes don't. Continuing on, your olive yards and olive yards, even the beast of them, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. All right, so he takes your substance and then gives it to his servants, his other servants, the ease that are under him. All right, his captains, his chiefs. All right. The elite gives them your substance that you work for. All right? Continuing on. "And he will take the 10th of your seed." He will take a tenth of your seeds. Once again, what is that going into? That goes into your taxes. All right? Before you even get your money, you get taxed on it. Okay? You get taxed on the money that you work for, that you work hard for. And you continuously get taxed before you even see it. And then you got to wait a week, wait 2 weeks, wait a month. All right? If I did the job today, I should get paid today. Continuing on. "And for your vineyards, and give to him officers, and to his servants." So he give his officers and his servants. All right? Once again, who got the bailout? The bailout was supposed to be for the people, but what companies got it? His friends. Their friends. $3 trillion, billions and trillions of dollars keep going to these same families, these same people. This money is still funneled through these same wicked ass people, and to their same wicked ass programs, and to their same wicked ass friends, and to their same wicked ass decrees. All right? Setting up to destroy you, Israel. Continuing on. "And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goods, and your goodliest young men." All right? Your goodliest young men. That's once again bringing the men to war. Taking them at a young age. All right? While they still have strength. And "and your asses, and put them to his work." Okay? Whether you work a 9 to 5, a 6 to 4, 4 to 3, it doesn't matter. All right, Israel, it doesn't matter. You always have the short end of the stick. This is why we're not supposed to vote, because this devil does not care about you. Continuing on. He will take the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servant. Yeah, are we not the servants? Are we not the servants? Do we go and labor day in, day out, working for our substance? But the world was made for who? Was made for Israel. Was made for our sake. Roughly paraphrasing the scripture. All right, look it up. Continuing on, verse 18. Once again, this is 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 18. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have caused you, and Yahweh will not hear you in that day. Slakia. Let me read that over. Slakia. This is verse 18. And it reads, and ye shall cry out in that day because for your king, which ye shall have chosen you. All right. This is the king that you chose. This king, this heathen nation, these other heathen nations to be over you. You chose this king throughout captivities. But now we're talking about where? America. Spiritually, Sodom, Gomorrah, Babylon, Egypt. All right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about vote or die. That's what we're talking about. And Yahweh will not hear you in that day. So when your destruction comes, Yahweh's not going to hear you. He's not going to hear you. This is the king that you voted for. This is the king that you voted for. All right? So when the enemy comes in like a flood, roughly paraphrasing the scripture, remember that you voted for this man. You voted for him to take care of you, to take care of your family, to take care of yourself in this society. All right? Trusting in Egypt. Continuing on. Verse 19. Once again, this is 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 19. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us. All right? We will have a king over us. They still don't hearken unto the word. They said, oh, no, we still want a king over us. And these things were already told this would happen unto you if you chose a king over Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. Continuing on to verse 20, that we also may be like the nations, all the nations. Salakia. Let me read that over. Verse 20, that we also may be like all the other nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us and fight our battles. So you want your kings to go out before you and fight your battles. All right? That's the so-called the kings that you chose have this military, and you're fighting the battle. All right? And Samuel, verse 21, and Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he raised Salaki, and he rehearsed them, in the ear of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. And continuing on, verse 22, and Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. All right? So Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai said, you want a king? I'll give you a king. All right? You want a king? I'll give you a king. So that is what Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has done. He's given us kings that the 2/3 asked for. Okay? Now, let's go. Let's go to the book just to show you. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Book of Isaiah, and we're going to go to chapter 30. 1. I'm going to go to chapter 31 and verse 1. And it reads, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help." All right? You're going down to Egypt for help. When you go and cast your ballot, when you go and make that vote, when you vote or die, this is what you're doing. You're going down to Egypt for help. Woe to them. Let me start over again. Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Continuing on. Verse 2. Yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his word. Slakia. Slakia. Verse 3. Slakia. I meant to read verse 3. And it reads, "Now the Egyptians are men and not gods, and their horses flesh and not spirits. When Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is Slakia, he that is hoping shall fall down, and they all shall fall together." All right? You shall fall into that pit. You shall fall into that pit. All right? Because this is not your rest. This is not your rest. We are not supposed to vote. And the reason why we're not supposed to vote, let's go ahead and get it. All right? Not only did you see that right there, the account where we asked for a king, and what happened, what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said would happen. What did we do? All right? We asked for a king, and what did Yahweh Bashem Yahushai give us? He gave us a king. But that's not how it's supposed to be. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to go about? It's going to be the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, and start at verse 11. And it reads, Yahweh, Salakia, Yahweh, the power of your fathers, make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you, as he hath promised you. Who did he promise? Israel. Once again, salvation is for who? Israel. Continuing on. How can I myself alone bear your cherubims and your burdens and your strife? All right. So he was talking, this is Moses. All right. But Moses also needed, what did he need? Moses needed a counsel, right? So continue on reading. Take, and it reads, take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. So who's supposed to be ruler over Israel? All right, the wise men and the elders of your tribes. All right, in the kingdom to come, the 144,000. All right, the governing body of Israel. All right, continuing on. And ye answered me and said, the things which thou hast spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them hands over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over fifties, and captains over tens, and officers among your tribes. Verse 16, and I charge you, judges, at that time, saying, hear the cause between your brethren. Who is your brethren? Okay? Who's your brethren? The Israelites, and Israelites only, the 12 tribes of Israel. How do you know that? Hey, go back into Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. All right? Verse 1 through 4 gives you the 12 tribes right there. Slakia. And your brethren, and judges. So, verse 16. We'll start at verse 16. And I charge you, judges, and that time, saying, hear the cause between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the strangers that is within him. Verse 17. Ye shall not respect person in judgment. All right. So it is not our custom to respect our friends, family in judgment, because we're supposed to be righteous judges. All right. Who are these? Are these politicians righteous in their judgment? Did not the president get his friends off, so on and so forth? Continuing on. But ye shall hear the small as well as the great. Ye shall not be afraid of the face of men, for the judgment is God's, which is powers. It says plural right there, God's. And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I command you at that time all the things which ye should do. All right? These are all the things that we should do. He said, bring it to him at that time. Why do we bring it to him? All right? Why do we bring it to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai? Why? I'll give you the perfect reason why. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right? He's the ruler. He sets up. Let's go. Slack. Go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs. And we're going to prove that account. Go to Proverbs chapter 29. Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, every man's judgment comes from Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. But every man seeking favors, right? But the Bible, once again, just for edification's sake, let's go back and read it one more time. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. And for that, let's go and prove that even more. Let's prove it even more. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hands of Yahweh's, Bashem Yahweh Shai. As the river of the waters, he turneth it wheresoever he will. So everything that goes on, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai commands and does. All right? So the kings and so on and so forth that are set up first and foremost, they're in the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, so his word will not come back to him void, roughly paraphrasing the scriptures. All right? He controls the comings and goings in the hearts of men and kings. All right? And he will set a king up over us. We asked for a king, so Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai gave us Yahushai, the deliverer. All right? And let's see what he says. Go to Deuteronomy, and we'll close out after this. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. And we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 17 and start at verse 14. And it reads, When thou art come unto the land which Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, thy power giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thus shall in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy power shall choose, one from among thy brethren. Okay, and who's that Yahweh chose? Yahushai. All right, he is the king. First and foremost, Yahweh, then Yahushai, King David, and then the 12, and so on and so forth. All right. Let me finish reading, and I'll start over at verse 15. This is Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. Thus shall in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy power shall choose, one from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. All right? So, right there, we're not supposed to have heathen nations over us. No presidents, no priest, no dignitaries, no nothing. All right? No kings, which the presidents and stuff are modern day kings, no ambassadors or whatever they could, prime ministers or whatever of these heathen nations. It is supposed to be the man of 12 tribes of Israel. The ultimate king is Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Till the next time, I say Shalom.